What's up, everybody? It's your boy Z Money. The conference finals are upon us. Let's get into round two. Let's talk about what's coming up next. Here we go. All right, in the East, we're gonna get the 1-2 matchup: Nets versus Wizards. The Nets versus Hawks. I think I predicted this 4-1 exactly. This one exactly how I expected. The Nets are really good. They're unstoppable. If you want your Olin Harris statistical check-in really quickly, I got you. He's currently averaging 31 points per game on 71% true shooting in the playoffs. 33 points per game on 71% true shooting in the playoffs. Now, you could say those stats were a little inflated from the Magic, but the fact he's still over 70% true shooting after playing the Hawks, who are a quality team in all rights, says enough. I never thought the Hawks were playoff risers. I talked about this in the last Zachetology. I don't love them for the playoffs, so the fact they didn't put up a fight doesn't surprise me. It's just the Olin Harris effect. Henry Percy was also super, super good, which is not surprising because Marty Taylor, who I think was playing power forward that series, is I don't know. He's one of my least favorite guys when it comes to the playoffs. He really strikes me as everything you don't want in a playoff player. He's mediocre athletically. He's got B's. His size isn't super good. And Percy is just athletic, only goes inside. Marty doesn't seem super well equipped to stop that. And that was the case because Percy went off a couple times. But yeah, not a ton to talk about here. The Heat versus Wizards, as predicted, razor-thin series. Heat lose a heartbreaker by 3 points in Game 7. In the way this panned out, I think the surprise was how well Ismail American did. I thought he would do worse while Arthas would do better. American did quite well, and Arthas was, I don't know if I would go as far as saying bad, but he was more held in check. His percents in most games were pretty underwhelming. He was tolerable. He was great in one. He was tolerable in a couple and then bad in a couple, while American was basically good across the board. What that says about the Wizards defense, it's hard to say. I don't really know. I guess what it says is Julian Suttles, who, again, is playing power forward for the Wizards, in my estimation, I think he will continue to, is a really good defender. Toilet Atlas, not so good. Timmy Hamilton and Chuck and Arlie Carey have been shooting well enough to keep this team in it. Timmy Hamilton is still over 60% true shooting, which is that's the big shock. Chuck being over 60%, everybody expected. And Arlie Carey being over 60%, I don't know how to feel about Arlie Carey. I don't think I'd expect him to be that good, especially after playing against the Heat, who are pretty much a perimeter-oriented team as far as defense is concerned. But the big question is there any level of firepower that is good enough to stop the Nets? I do think, for what it's worth, the way you beat the Nets is with offense. I think the thing you got to accept is that Olin Harris is not stoppable. Yes, at one game a series, Olin will seem to fuck it up. And if you can take advantage in that game, fantastic. But every other game, Olin's going to be going 15 for 20 for 35 to 40 points. And it's not about stopping that. It's about accepting it. And what you can attempt to stop is going to be Wilford and Henry Percy. And I think Julian Suttles gives me a little hope that the Wizards can stop Henry Percy. I do worry about Will Four against not Bernardo Zubero, whoever the Wizards are playing, Toilet Atlas. I worry about that matchup. I think Will Four will get the better of Toilet Atlas. And it's I really feel like you got to be able to stop both the guys in the front court to shut down the Nets, because all it takes is one guy plus Olin. And we're talking about literally 70 points of efficient offense. And the Nets are good on defense. They're not outside of Olin, I know in terms of efficiency, I think they finished number 1 overall. They did. Although I'm not a true believer in that. I think there's a little here of the East having the 4 worst teams in the league. And so the stats being a little inflated because of that. But, you have to do a whole lot to stop the Nets. On stopping the Wizards, Olin will do as good as literally anybody on the planet can do at stopping one of the guards, whether that's Chuck, Arlie Carey, or Hamilton. Z-Money, also really good. And then there's that third slot for the Nets at guard. And will they be able to stop the third guard of the Wizards, whoever that is? This is Paul Watkins. Paul Watkins is a weird one because he plays small forward. He's one of those stocks guys, very much of the Ira Dean family, but he's an atrocious man defender. So if you're the Wizards, your hope is that whoever's at small forward can be going for 40 and can overcome the fact that Z Money and Olin Harris are just straight up awesome defenders, both pretty big, pretty athletic. I know Z Money is only like A minus and A in the ratings, but he is 6'4", a 6'4" athlete, and then Olin is obviously Olin. All in all, could the Wizards get this interesting? I do think they're better than the Hawks. I would, if I had ranked my East teams before the playoffs, forget the Nets. Obviously, the Nets are number one in terms of the best teams. I would have probably picked the Heat and the Celtics over the Wizards, but I would have definitely picked the Wizards next over the Hawks. I don't like the Hawks team that much, and especially from what I've seen in the Wizards so far this playoffs, I have a little faith. I don't know. It's like, is it enough for me to even give them 2 games? I don't know. The Nets are winning. That's not really a hot take. Everybody knows it. I'll give the Wizards 2 because I think I want it to go to 6. I just don't really see the path to victory here. The dream is to get Timmy on Olin, I guess, and like you shut down Olin. But it's almost like you just want to avoid that and let Olin do what he's going to do and just hope that the offense of the Nets self-limits Olin into taking only so many shots. I don't know. There's no good answer. Olin's broken. Like, we all know it. Can any team stop the Nets? Maybe we can talk about it if the Sonics get there. I feel like they're the best matchup, but we got to get there. All right, let's talk about the West. All right, so the Clippers and the Rockets play. I know we only won 6 games, but this was a 50-50 razor close series. 3 1-point games, 2 of them going to the Rockets, 1 of them going to the Clippers. That was arguably the difference. I think you flip that to 2 in favor of the Clippers of those 1-point games. It's not that crazy to believe that the Clippers could win 1 more game. They certainly looked like it. The surprise here is that, look, the Rockets have probably the best front court in the league. They certainly have the best front court in the West. I think the Heat and the Celtics are the other teams that would kind of claim the best front courts. The Sonics have a very good front court, but it's just like a little different. I don't know. But anyways, I really thought the front court of the Rockets offensively would just take over and dominate. And, to be frank, they just didn't really. I've looked at the playoff stats for the front court of the Rockets, and it's just not great. Cantor Bakwa and Carmichael Brown are playing fantastic defense, but offensively, this team really looks like shit. I mean, it's Shane Sullivan is carrying this team, and it's not that Shane Sullivan can't be good. I mean, he's fresh off a 60% true shooting season, 23 points per game, but as we saw in this Clippers series, when there's actual guards he has to play against, like a suite of guards, not just a single guard in Demetri Smith, and especially as the guards get bigger and better at defense, which, spoiler alert, they're about to, he has games where he fucks up. I mean, yes, Shane Sullivan won the Rockets like a game, but he also blew games. The big tough part is like Carmichael Brown, like who do you play? Right, you obviously the small forward of West Eastwood is gone. It's just not. He's so inefficient offensively, and he's also a great post defender, and you're not really getting much out of him. So then the question is like, okay, you have Bakwa, Brown, and West Eastwood, and the nice thing about Bakwa is he's low usage, so you get that great defense with no offensive harm. Although when he does shoot the ball, he's quite good. But you're gonna need offense. The Sonics. Well, I'm getting too deep into the matchup. Let me talk quickly about the Sonics, and then we'll dive deeper in here. All right, the Sonics just smoked the Lakers. They did lose a game away. The Lakers had a crazy offensive explosion. But, I mean, the Sonics won a game by almost 60. They won a game by almost 40. They won another game by almost 30, I think. It was like a categorical beatdown. This Sonics team, I think if you voted at the beginning of the playoffs who the finals matchups would be, we would pretty heavily be like it would be Sonics versus Nets. So this isn't super surprising. This is the first real challenge for the Sonics, where this is very much a series they could lose. Although I'll put it to the poll because this is the best matchup we're going to see in the conference finals. I think the Sonics are still probably favored. They're just top to bottom so unbelievably good in every aspect. They have a turnover problem, as plagues a lot of really good teams, and that's kind of the only Achilles heel that exists for them. So as it pertains to the Rockets, the Sonics front court can match up well with the Rockets front court. I don't think they win, but the Sonics offensively are just a better front court, I think. Seth Charles and Wilt. Like, Wilt is obviously an offensive machine, one of the best offensive big men in the game. He's just too big and goes inside too much. And then Seth Charles, he's kind of on the border of like gets stopped by great defense versus can't be stopped at all. But he also brings to the table good athleticism. He's a good post defender. He gets a reasonable amount of boards. So he does a little bit of everything, which makes him super valuable. And then Jason Treble, although when we're talking about these matchups where everyone else is over 7 feet, he kind of is a shorty at 6'10". Quality defender, quality rebounder, brings a lot to the table. I think my big concern if I'm the Rockets is that I don't care who I put where, whether I put Carmichael Brown and Wes Eastwood as my starting pair, whether I put Kontar Bakwa in at power forward or whatever the hell it ends up being, is that the offense of the Rockets will get shut down. Because defensively, like, this is going to be so much better than the front court that the Clippers had to offer. And the Rockets didn't exactly shine on offense against the Clippers. They did well at times, and they also shat the bed at times. So, yeah, definitely worrying. What do you do with Franklin Johnson if you're the Rockets, who's been playing at small forward, is another run inside guy? It's another tricky problem, man. I mean, Ney is probably playing for the Sonics at small forward, although the Sonics can definitely play Joe Sandberg there. But Ney is like an A-plus blocks guy, and he's tall. I don't know how tall he is. He's 6'8", 6'9", 6'10". So it's not the worst matchup in the world. But if you play Franklin Johnson at small forward, like, Ney's shooting almost 70% in true shooting this series. So you're going to give up the offense, and are you going to get the offense back? Who knows? And then where the Sonics really dominate this matchup is at guard. The Rockets, Epifanio is kind of in this weird guard situation where it's like, first of all, he's essentially been benched in the playoffs, which I think says a lot about what Bryant thinks about Epifanio, which I don't disagree with. Like, he's a good player, and he's worthy of minutes, but offensively, he's bad. As he's shown in these playoffs, he's been terrible. He passes the ball well, which is valuable, and he plays solid defense. The tricky part is the Sonics, man. Every single guard scores unbelievably well. They can choose to swap out the Sonics, Augusto Salustiano, for Alexander Sirski if they are looking to go full defense. And then, like, if the Rockets' number one offensive player is Shane Sullivan and the people he has to pick to play against is Joe Sandberg or Alexander Sirski, I mean, man, those are tough matchups. Both those guys are bigger than Shane. They're both great defenders. They get a shit ton of steals. And they stroke the three ball, and Shane's a midget. And I personally, again, I've said it a million times, believe that taller players that are athletes stop the three ball, which Shane is not. It's a tough matchup, man. I don't want to favor myself because it feels like you're setting up for bad juju to lose in like hilarious fashion. But I also would be misleading all of you people if I said that I thought the Rockets were going to win just because it was out of pure superstition. So I have to pick myself. I think the stats say the Sonics are better. The matchup says the Sonics are better. They're a better built team. The Rockets, again, had good stats on the season, but they have this weird logjam at forward, and they have a lack of guards. I think it will come to bite them. This game feels like a 6.5, where I don't know if I should pick I'm going to pick the Sonics in 4, and I'm going to say 2 to the Rockets. I can't decide if I should go 7 to the Rockets lose in 7 or the Sonics win in 6. Like, this is a 6.5er. I'm just picking 6 because whatever. Those are my predictions. Because I'm a selfish man and I get to do the Zachetologies, if the Sonics win and I play what I can only assume is the Nets, then I'll probably make a really quick final Zachetology because it'll be a big moment for me, and so I will enjoy talking about it. If I lose to Brian, I'll probably just hide away like a little bitch, and Zachetology will be done for this season, and I'll cry. That's just how it goes. But until tomorrow morning, we wait, enjoy the drama, and yeah, toodles.